What is going on in the real estate market in 2024? My name is Tom Lux of Whissel Realty. I'd like to discuss where we're at now, where the market's at. But before I go into that, I'd like to look back to 2023, especially three key points that really kind of shaped where we've been and where we're going. Number one is inventory. Year to date, from December 2023 to December 2022, we are at about 30% less inventory than where we were. So inventory's dropped 30% from a year ago, okay? That's a big deal. That's a lot of numbers. What we saw with the 30% more inventory a year ago is we saw the market shot up for the first couple months into the spring and even into the summer. And then it kind of stalled a little bit. Now, the second point I want to bring up with that is home values, okay? Home values from a year ago to date are up 10%, 10.7% from where they were a year ago at this time. That's a very significant number. The nation average is about 4 to 5%, so San Diego's up 10%. But it wasn't a smooth ride. It was kind of a roller coaster last year. With the activity going up, values went up. They shot up to 15% in some markets in San Diego. Then things kind of stalled and they dropped down a little bit and ended up to where we're at now, which is about, again, 10.7% up from a year ago. The third thing to look at, which actually drives the market, is interest rates. A year ago, interest rates were about 6.1%. They closed the year out in December 2023, almost the same, about 6.75, but there again, it wasn't a smooth ride. What we saw in interest rates is they climbed as we got into the spring in 6, 7, 8. They actually went over 8% during the summer. And that pretty much kind of shut down the market a little bit as I mentioned earlier. Interest rates since have come back down, and December 2023, they're sitting at about 6.7%. So inventory changed, home values went up, interest rates took a nice little roller coaster. Now looking at 2024, with the less inventory, interest rates have actually come down again. You can get them in the low 6s with great credit. You can even get it in the 5s. And the Feds have promised 3 to 4 more drops in their rate, which is going to affect the interest rates because the interest rates follow the Feds. So what we're going to see is a continual decline in the interest rates, which is great news for buyers. Great news for buyers. So what we're starting to see now is buyers are coming back into the market, okay? But there's not a lot of inventory. We're down 30% from last year. Sellers are still a little bit reluctant to sell their home, but they are going to be selling because they're sitting at the 3% interest rate, and as interest rates come down, they're going to start selling. But what's going to happen is as the sellers put their home on the market, they're probably going to turn right around and buy because now it'll be a favorable time as we climb into the springtime. But that's going to be a slow process. But what we're seeing right now with interest rates coming is buyers are starting to come back in the market. What do I suggest as a real estate advisor? Well, I predict that in springtime, second quarter, you're going to see a lot of buyers coming in the market, even more so than now. So I would strongly recommend, if you're thinking of buying in 2024 and you maybe want to wait for the interest rates to drop down a little bit more, I think you might be kicking yourself a little bit, because by the time that happens, everybody else is going to be thinking the same thing. Then you're going to create a situation where a lot of buyers are in there. That multiple offer situation is going to rear its ugly head, which we're already seeing. So I strongly suggest, if you're going to buy in 2024, you really consider buying now and beat the buyers before those prices start climbing up. And if you don't like the rate that you're getting now, you can always refinance when the rates do come down, and that's a really solid option. Now, if you're thinking of selling your home, selling a home is it's a very individualistic situation. It depends on your end goal. Are you selling to get your dream home? Are you selling to move out of the state? That's an individual thing. And if you'd like to discuss that a little bit more, I think it's more of a one-on-one situation. I'd be happy to sit down with you and discuss your options regarding selling. So That's the market update. I'm Tom Lux of Whissel Realty, and who represents you matters.